Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Caroline of Simply Joyful Homemaking, and today we're going to be making sourdough sandwich bread. The timeline I like to use for this recipe is to start at night and then bake in the morning. So it is currently 8 o'clock at night. I fed my starter today around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see there's a decent amount of bubbles. I have 3 starters to choose from here. Oh yeah, look at that. I fed my starters around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and so they are nice and active and ready to be used for a loaf of bread. So I'm gonna make the dough tonight, knead it, let it rest overnight on the countertop, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to shape the loaves, let them rest a little while longer, and bake them around lunchtime tomorrow. So that is the plan, and I'm going to take you along with me and show you the process in detail. I'm starting with 2.5 cups of filtered water, a tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of honey or sugar, 1 cup of active sourdough starter, a little bit more. That's a heaping cup of starter right there. You know your starter is ready to use when it floats on top of the water. If it doesn't float, then your bread is not going to rise like you want it to. Lastly, 1 stick of melted butter. Now we're going to combine all of our ingredients together. This is the point in the recipe where I have a different measurement almost every time, and it's with the flour. I would say this recipe takes about 7 to 8 cups of flour on average, but sometimes I've used more, sometimes I've used less. It really just depends on my starter that day, I think, but I'm going to assume I'm going to be using at least 7 cups of flour today. I always like to start off with 4 cups of flour, let it knead for a little bit, let all of the flour get incorporated into the dough, and then add flour 1 cup at a time after that. So I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to knead this dough until the flour is completely incorporated. Now that the flour is completely incorporated, I'm going to add in the rest of the flour 1 cup at a time. So this is cup number 5. Cup number 6. Cup number 7. And then last but certainly not least, cup number 8. You can see how the dough is starting to pull away from the bowl, but we want it to completely pull away from the bowl whenever it is completely done kneading. So since it's still sticking to the bowl, that means that we need more flour. I'm going to try to lose as little flour as possible here. It's bound to happen. A little tip, if you need to touch your dough but you don't want it to stick to your hands, just wet your fingers a little bit beforehand and then it won't stick. Starting to get dark outside, but after all of the flour has been added, we're going to let the KitchenAid knead the dough for about 15 to 20 minutes until it passes the window pane test, which I'll demonstrate once we get to that point. So, see you in a little bit. Okay, let's check to see if it passes the window pane test yet. I can already tell it's a no. It's gonna be a no. Yeah. Okay, so I know it doesn't pass because whenever I take the dough and stretch it, I cannot thin it out very well without it ripping like this. The goal is to be able to thin it out without it ripping too easily. It's like almost there, probably needs like 10 more minutes. So we're gonna knead it again. That's more like it. All right. We're gonna call that good enough because it's getting late. Okay, now I'm going to grease up this larger bowl so that it can rest overnight. I'm using organic coconut oil to oil up this bowl. Now I'm going to cover the dough overnight with a damp tea towel and let it double. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning. It is now time to shape our loaves. You can see the dough has completely doubled by now and it is looking beautiful. I'm very excited about this batch. To shape the loaves, I'm going to put some flour on my working surface, spread it around, and now I'm going to put the dough out on the countertop. Now I'm going to split the dough down the middle. Do you want up? Now I'm going to flatten out the dough into a rectangular shape. Once the dough is flattened, I'm going to take one end and roll it to the other end. And then place it in a greased bread pan. And do the same for the second loaf. Now I'm going to keep these loaves covered for 2 to 4 hours until they have doubled. Okay, it has been about 4 hours now and the loaves have more than doubled. So now we are going to bake the loaves for 45 minutes at 375.
After 45 minutes, you should have 2 freshly baked sourdough sandwich loaves. 2 loaves usually lasts my family around a week. We use it for our sandwiches during lunchtime, for toast in the morning during breakfast, and if we have any extra that has gone stale, we usually use them for French toast during breakfast time. To keep my bread fresh, I usually keep it in a Ziploc bag or in a bread box. The main thing you want to think about is making sure that your bread does not have access to excess air, so that way it doesn't go stale and it doesn't grow mold as quickly. Let me know down in the comments if you try this recipe, and make sure to like and subscribe for more sourdough recipes and from scratch cooking. Happy baking!